Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. You guys are tuning into another episode at the end of the day, hosted by me, the one and only Kiera Simone.
And Morgan Gould.
Morgan, what are we talking about today?
Today, since Easter weekend just passed, aka Resurrection Sunday, we're going to talk about the church.
The black church at that.
And so we're going to get into specifics within church. We're going to see like culture, music, stereotypes, and of course, how people manipulate the Bible. So let's talk first about
the black culture. The black culture within the church.
So like, I'm thinking like getting up super early. I remember as a child, we like get up real late, and it's like 6.
I get up real late, it's 6.
Like, whoa, wait a second.
When I was growing up, we never did like the 6 o'clock. So we always did at least a 10 o'clock service.
That's where we went to, the 10 o'clock.
Why y'all get up at 6?
No, I don't know. We had to go everybody had to get their hair did. It just feels we go to church inside of Fulton County.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go to like a mega church, but I really don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But we just had to get up super early, get the hair all the way pressed, hot comb on the stove. Had to get them edges pulled back, all the way back. And then, get the clothes flat iron. I stay ripping tights every morning.
Get a little run in your tights, honey. I remember them dresses, the little dresses you
Those
had.
dresses are so cute, though.
I love when little girls wear the dress. It was, of course, like she just said, it was Easter. So all the kids wearing like their little Easter dresses.
Double tap. The kids are adorable.
Yes. Oh, let's not forget the mothers of the church with the hats.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna lie. I love hats. I'm not like the big.
I can't wait for that to get to that age.
And y'all can wear big old hats. My auntie has a slew of hats. I'm talking about like her hat collection is off the chain. I love big hats, like just big old hats. I love them.
And they're so cute and they're so overly decorated. You can't see anything.
When I put them down, I love it.
They're so floppy. It's like, can you see?
Can you see? And they come in just strutting with their little matching dress on. It's
with the shoes, the heels.
The heels are always matching. I love it.
Heels.
I love it. Let's get into my favorite part of church, how I connect to church, praise and worship and music.
Praise and worship is extremely essential when it comes down to like beginning the service because it kind of ushers in the spirit. You gotta like bring in the Holy Spirit. You gotta invite him in. So when you start that off, you gotta have a nice ceremony going. And a lot of times, what you see nowadays inside the church, sometimes it's kind of like people pleasing like quote unquote their flesh. Because some of the music, it's not gospel music.
Yeah.
So like you can take like Kanye West for example. He's remixing songs, but he's remixing them with his own songs.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
I don't feel that either.
If I'm gonna get the presence of the Lord, I want the presence of the Lord. I like classic praise and worship. Like classic praise and worship, like Stomp, and I love to do praise. Like I never remember in my church we did like a praise run, like we just ran around the church in a circle, like praising. I like stuff like
the shuffle.
Yes, I love stuff like that. The drums, the piano. I love that part of church because like that, especially like when praise and worship start service, because like you said, you ushering in the spirit, everybody getting up, getting hype, and then when the pastor come in, just produces the end part. So I love that.
I love when the choir comes out.
Yes.
For which song is it? For Every Mountain, when the choir comes out, girl. Everybody just tears start strolling down because it's just like that song just invokes so much emotion because we listen to the lyrics. It's like
I love gospel music. Like really gets people like teary. I know like you're not supposed to like be like emotional, but stuff like that really makes me feel it. Like oh my god, like everybody's feeling it.
Especially when you actually listen to the song. Because I was in my car this morning and I was listening to "You Know My Name" by Tasha Cobbs, and I was listening to the lyrics and I was just like,
Tasha Cobbs is awesome.
Tasha Cobbs is amazing. Like. You know what else is amazing? Yolanda Adams. Because on Twitter, there was this video of her singing from her seat without a microphone. And you can hear her clear as day. It's like, and anytime someone does like a tribute to anyone, they always call Yolanda Adams.
She has a voice. Like she's a powerhouse.
She does. They got her in the country tributes. They got her in the soul soul ones. They got her in the pop ones. It's just like her voice is just like.
Anytime you hear a tribute by Yolanda Adams, like, yes, Yolanda, she is coming through.
Singing at everybody's funeral.
She's and she still looks amazing. Like, how old is she?
She's in her 50s. Like, she started off as a model before she started doing music.
She's amazing.
I think she was a teacher first.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I have to look into her a little bit more, like her actual background. Okay, let's get into a couple. What are some classic black church stereotypes?
When you don't come dressed up.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of annoying sometimes because they might have just got off work and they're just like, I'm going straight to church because I know if I go home and change, then I'm not gonna have time to go to church.
Oh, what about my mother calls them CMEs?
What's that?
You only come to church on Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter.
Oh, well, at least they came.
She was like, they're CME. It's like, Mama, we were talking about the other day. I was like, Mama, what's the CME? She's talking about you only come Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter. CNE, Christmas, New Year's, and Easter.
At least they try, start. It's sad sometimes, but,
But I mean, at least you made an effort to come.
Especially New Year, you want to start that New Year off.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the Mother's Day services are, ooh.
I ain't going to no Mother's Day service. I'm not even let to you. I'll probably do the opposite. I'll probably go to church. I probably won't go to church on the holidays. Are so hectic in church sometimes. Like, cause like I said, that's when everybody comes. So
services be on.
Services be extra long. Them Easter speeches. I'm finna go. I'm finna go. What else is another stereotype?
The whole money thing.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of people don't understand is a lot of churches some churches, smaller ones, well not even smaller ones, just a lot of them, they actually, how do I phrase this? Some do take money for themselves and some don't. But you can't let that ruin it because a lot of places they do run off of tithes.
Yeah.
So and they do give back to their members because I know sometimes when I do go to a smaller church, which I love smaller churches.
I prefer a smaller church than a mega church.
Yeah.
If we're being honest.
Because when we talk about what don't churches do, I'm gonna talk about my mega church experience when we get to that. But with tithes and offering, they have to go back to the community and whatnot. So when you have when you're getting that offering in, and then you have people that taking on the side, it's not only you're hurting yourself, but you're hurting yourself in the presence of God because someone's giving that money to serve the kingdom of God. Yeah. And you have someone's I'm going to serve myself. It's you're hurting yourself twice.
Period.
And that's going to hurt in the long run because after a while, it's going to catch up with you. So
speaking of that, I posed the question: why don't black millennials black millennials and Generation Z attend church?
That's a great question.
Why don't we attend church? Well, not we, because I know you do, but I know I'm not an average churchgoer. I mean, of course, I still believe in God and I still believe in the Bible, but as far as going to a service, I haven't done that in 2 years.
So, there's, numerous reasons. Number one, we've been told to do stuff, and there's, no reason why.
Yeah.
Our parents' generation, they're kind of do as I said.
Not as I do.
Yeah, and us, we're just why do we have to do this? And there's so many questions being posed by us, and no one's answering it, so people are going to get their answer elsewhere. If I can't get my answer in church, I'm not going to go.
Period.
So I'm going to go somewhere else. And then another reason is a lot of people, unfortunately, they've been abused and whatnot, and it's never really been dealt with a proper way. For instance, taking someone and reporting them and them going to prison. Instead, they tell somebody and they're just oh, okay. And then they're cover up, go apologize to that person for lying on them. It's no. That person is in a position of authority over a child, and they've misused that relationship to hurt someone, and they need to go away. And
another one I think is probably a lot of older generations, how they judge us sometimes.
Oh yeah, girl.
Because I know some mothers and fathers in the church, they don't they're not big on the whole tattoo trend. That's one of them. Sometimes the way some of us carry ourselves. It's like sometimes they try to punish us for just living our life.
Mm-hmm. They try to like look at you and they're just like, oh, okay.
You
Because
know?
some people, I've seen a lot of pastors, they're tattooed up, and they like, when people go out and evangelize people, they run straight to them because they're just like, oh, that appearance, they're not saved. And so like after you talk to someone, it's like, oh, thanks, that was nice. You know, I'm already saved. Like sometimes when people come here, they like see like, oh, she's wearing shorts and whatnot. Look at the way she dressed. I'm like, okay, I'm already saved, but thank you.
Yeah, and it's just like you can't. And the thing with that part of being saved and all that, how can you judge somebody on being saved? You don't know them as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't look at someone's outer appearance and then try to judge them in their relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that'd be my whole thing. You know, you don't know me personally, so how can you possibly know what type of relationship I have with God?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have my own relationship with Him, and I know what He's done for me, and I know who I serve. So how can you judge me? And then how can you judge somebody and you're a part of the church?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never understood how people a part of the church can be so like cold and not welcoming and judgmental. Like, isn't that going against some of Christ's basic beliefs? Like, so I never understood that whole thing, and that probably plays into hypocrisy within the black church because so many people and that goes into, like you were saying, using the Bible to their own advantage. It's so much of that goes on, and it kind of like turns us away. Like, do I really want to be a part of that? You know,
scriptures too.
You know, because the church is supposed to be somewhere where you're supposed to feel like the most accepted. If I go to church, I'm supposed to feel like that's where I belong. This is where I serve. You know, of course, God is of omnipresence and He's everywhere. He goes with you. But that's where I go to fully serve Him. And if I can't do that there without being judged for what I look on the outside, what am I going for? And I think that's a big reason as to why so many younger people aren't going, because they feel like, well, if I go in there, they gonna look at me like this, they gonna look at me like that. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, that's no.
And another like huge thing in regards to that is like when you're talking about hypocrisy, it's like people, they're like sold out for God, but their character is horrible.
Yes.
So it's like your character will get you farther than like your calling in life. Like your calling in life is to serve, but you're mean to people. Because I know like sometimes I go to like random churches and whatnot because I belong to a few Christian organizations here on campus, and like they'll like have like shoe drive or whatever, or they might have like a clothing drive, or like most churches every like Christmas they have like adopt a child. And one lady, I remember, she had like 5 kids, and they were like all underneath the age of like 4, I think. And this lady was like, why don't you just close her legs? It's like, why are you here? You know, people, if they're asking for donations and whatnot, that they may not be living like the best life. And you just want to sit there and like, oh, she need to close her legs.
Like stuff like that. And it's just like, and then once again, you're not knowing the situation. Once again, you're judging, and then you're making rude comments, and none of that is God-like. How you these people be? I don't know. They just be so
messed up,
and it's just like, why? It's just like, why? It's like you're supposed to be a person of the Lord. If anything, you're supposed to make sure that they get what they need, because that's your job. And you sit here judging. I don't like judging. Like I was raised to not. You know, it is natural sometimes you're gonna, pass judgment on people, but to like in that way, it's just like, ew. It's like you're supposed to be a person of God, like, and that's what you're doing.
There's like different kinds of judgment you're supposed to have. There's the judgment of God, which like everyone's gonna meet that, and like there are different standards of judgment. So like, if someone comes out and they're like, oh, I'm a Christian artist, but they cuss inside the music, you would use like your righteous judgment to be like, that's not of God. That ain't it. And then, like, when you have someone who, look at, like, Montel Jordan, for example. He's a pastor now. But if you look at his past life, you just be like, nah, he not a pastor. Versus, like, when you see where he's come to, somebody might look at him, look at his past, and like, oh, he's not a pastor. But that's their own personal judgment. That's not righteous judgment.
Yeah.
So, like, there's we have to have, like, 2 different kinds of judgment. And when the judgment is harsh and criticizes someone to, like, a point where it's just like, this isn't right, that's like their own personal judgment. That's not like righteous judgment. And I feel like we've never really been taught the difference sometimes, because some people, they like incorporate it within like their sermons and whatnot, and they're just like, they'll lash out and be rude to people and whatnot, and it's just like, dang, you're really turning everyone away because you just want to be mean. For like certain men, when they preach, they're just like, well, all the women can't be inside the front row because, you know, they trying to like test me. And it's just like,
What?
Sir, you're dealing with lust. A lot of people do, but that you can't be out here punishing people.
Whoa.
That's so common. Like some where are we at now? We're still in hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Excellent. And it's hypocrisy from looking at someone's appearance. Hypocrisy on pushing your own judgment on someone, your own personal vendetta. Because some men of the cloth that
Speak it, Morgan.
some men of the cloth are really horrible.
Yeah.
And like they'll be married and they'll see somebody and they'll just be like, she fine. Versus like when his wife might see him checking out some other woman, she gonna lash out the woman when she can just be sitting there doing nothing, just looking gorgeous, and he's just out here like a dog with no home training, just like that's so weird and so uncomfortable, and that pushes a lot of people away.
Greenleaf.
Girl, Greenleaf.
I have to finish Greenleaf. I started, but I didn't finish it because now.
Which season you on?
I'm still on. I'm on like the 4th episode of season 1. School got so hectic for me so fast during Greenleaf, and I was really watching it. But do you, as a person who attends a mega church, do you feel like that is an accurate representation of a mega church?
Aside from like actually meeting the pastor, pretty accurate. Cause like everybody, they seem like they have like the difference between what I see in Greenleaf and what I've seen is like the pastor is like super up close versus inside ours. He's in and out. Mm-hmm. Versus like the associate pastors, they'll walk up to you and just talk. They'll go to the back of the church and actually talk to people. It's like, wow, you come back here? Versus him, he's just in and out. Like, I'm so busy. Like, if you're really that busy, then like, why are you? I can't say that because. So I go to World Changers, right? And like I've been going there since like I was like 1, and it's just different things that I've seen that I don't like in regards to like people and whatnot. Because it's just like there's such a push for like the older people to be in charge and not for younger people. And over the years, it's like there's a hard criticism of younger people, and so we've had like a mass exodus of young people, and there's like more of a push towards older people inside. And now it's gotten to the point where it's like they're realizing that they're losing a lot of the college age kids, and so now they're trying to bring them back in. And I gotta hurry up and finish what I'm saying, so that way I'm gonna say what I just popped up inside of my head. What else? It's just different things, and it's also like sermon wise, it's just certain stuff. It's like it's prosperity gospel, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically like health, wealth, and all that. Your blessing is around the corner, and it's just like your blessing is always around the corner. Which corner is it? And it's like, well, you haven't gotten it yet because you didn't tithe this week. You didn't get it this week because you didn't tithe. Well, if you want this, you have to tithe, and it's just like, hold on, all this stuff. It's like all this stuff, and it's just like you're a shepherd, and you have to cater to your flock, but your flock is poor, and you're living it up. Where's the fairness in that? And it's sad. But back to my thing with like mega churches, I do not like mega churches because it just feels like it's not personal. Like I can go in there every week and everybody just looks at me like I'm new. Like I go in here every week. I'm not new. I've been here for a while. Versus when you go to like a small place, everybody's like, you came back. Oh my gosh.
I'd rather go to a smaller church. I've never been like, it doesn't matter what mega church, because I like you said, it's not personal, and I feel like it's too. I'm not gonna say I'm not a people person, because I am a people person, but like just all of them people at one time, it's just a lot for me. So I just rather attend. I'd rather just attend a smaller church, and that's all I've attended. Well, growing up, I told you I didn't go to church like that, but I went to church enough, and we only went to smaller churches, little neighborhood churches. You know, really get to know the pastor, get to touch the pastor, feel him, see how it is. Yeah, that's why the experience is. But I feel like if you're a new church goer,
you can get somewhere where you can like get into a community,
and it's easier that way, and then in that way, you can use church for what it's for, if that makes sense. Like, you know, if you need somebody, you can always go there. I think it's much easier just to go with a smaller church first. And and another reason why millennials, I feel like, don't go is because they don't feel like they need to go. A lot of millennials feel that's like, well, what's the purpose of me going? And that goes back to forcing, as children, being forced to go to church without a reason. So at this age, it's just when you get to be, you know, 19, 20, 21, you don't go anymore. Because it's just you never been told why you needed to go, the importance of going. So if you never been told the importance of going, you just was like, get dressed, let's go. How are you supposed to go at this age? So I feel like it needs to be brought to attention of why we need to go to church and the importance of going to church. Because a lot of people feel like, well, because I know at one point in my life I felt like I didn't need to go to church because I knew God myself. I had formed a relationship with God without church, if that makes sense. I formed them. It's like I found God on my own. So I felt like it wasn't a need for me to go. So that's another reason why I personally don't go. It's not because I feel like I don't need to go or I don't want to go. It's just like,
you should totally go, because like once you get into like a community, you need, like, everybody needs godly counsel. And so once you get into like a little community, because when you go to church, it's supposed to, like, it's basically like school in a sense. It's supposed to like school you on how you get closer to God. Because like if you feel close to God on your own, once you get in a group of people, it's just like, it just intensifies. Like you'll know God on a whole different level. And unfortunately, at a young age, most of us weren't told to go. Why we had to go to church? So we treat church like it's just another place to go.
Yeah, we treat church as an option
when it's the place to go.
How do you feel? I always ask people this, and I don't have no opinion. We want to know other people's opinion. How do you feel about getting your child, like your baby, christened, like baptizing your baby? Because I know a lot of people feel like okay, so I've heard some people say you're supposed to christen the baby for God to protect him, and then a lot of people, and then another large group of people feel like you shouldn't, that you should allow the child to make their own decision as they get older. So what's your opinion on that?
So like basically, as I've gotten older, like, oh, you got baptized as a baby. Babies don't have a choice. You made that choice for them. And you're supposed to, like, make that choice on your own. So when people baptize children and they baptize babies, it's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like, what's the point? You have to wait till they make that decision on their own. I wouldn't say it's pointless, because it's a stepping stone. Because I got baptized as a baby. They did, like, the oil. They didn't dunk us in water. They, like, basically put oil on our head. And so, like, it's like a baby rededication. You're like saying, thank you, God, I have this child. And also another thing is, some people, they make it seem like if you don't do this, God's going to take your baby. God does not take. God does not kill. This is not the Old Testament. God is not striking people dead anymore. This is not Mount Sinai, okay? We don't have the law of Moses over us. Unless you're Jewish, then you do. But the people are like, oh my gosh, you have to do this or else your baby's going to die. Like, no, some people don't. And some people, their kids wait and they choose God on their own. They're fine. And sometimes kids do die, babies do die, but that's not because of God. That's not because you had sin in your life. It just happens. And it's unfair for people to push that on people. And especially when people try to make that connection, like, that does not connect at all. And it's rude and it's extremely manipulative. Which is a good transition into our last point. People using the Bible for their own advantage. So, I know one thing people always say is like, women are not supposed to preach. But I'm...
Who said that? Who said that? I almost cussed on this radio. Who said that?
I'm trying to find the verse. People like, okay, so Paul, I'm trying to find which book it was. Okay, let me go to my God Questions app, because this is going to pull it up extra quick. So... there are tons of women who are examples inside the Bible who executed out the Word of God, who brought out the word, the word, who led the message of Jesus across the world. And like one thing is just like, people always say like, oh, you know how like law-wise people hear a woman and then she says like, oh, you can't believe her in court. That's like biblical times old, you have to have a man verify what you said. And so, like, when you look at the Bible, when Jesus got crucified, all of his followers left except for, I think it was John. I'm not exactly sure. Hold on. We're going to which book was it? Dang. I'm going to go to Mark. Okay, I'm going to 10. Dwarf. No. So basically, everybody left except for the women. And people are always like, oh, everybody left Jesus. Everybody didn't leave Jesus. And for like that, people try to use a religion to try to like tell women like, oh, you can't teach the word. You're supposed to stay with the children the whole time, the whole service. Like, you can't do anything. And I should have bookmarked this yesterday. Ugh. But people try to like tell women like, oh, you can't preach the word. It's because, oh, it was Timothy. Hold on. Okay, let me go to Timothy real quick. Was it first or second? Oh my gosh. Because I literally read this like, I'm gonna find it. Crap. It might have been 2 Timothy. I'm gonna find it though. I promise you. That way I can read it. Oh, is it Philippians? Oh. 2 Timothy 3:6. I hope this is right. They are kind who warn their way into homes and gain control over gullible women who are loaded down with sins and swayed by all kinds of evil desires. So during this time, it was like the women of, I forgot which church, were basically praising the goddess Diana, and they were like telling their husbands like, okay, this is what you gonna do. You gonna worship this deity versus like praising God. Because like the men, they would go out and they would get the word and they would come back, and it's like, you can't listen to your wives because they're doing this and they're going to mislead you. As we saying, because people pick up random passages where like people get married and then they're misled by their wives. That's like how Solomon, he was the most wise man in the Bible, but his downfall was that he married like what? He married a bunch of women. And so he started building all these different kinds of shrines to please their gods. And so what happened was Israel kept on having downfall after downfall after downfall. And people are like, well, that's why you can't listen to women. It's like, no. They were doing idolatry. They had a bunch of idol worship. So therefore, they couldn't be listened to. They can't be trusted. And what else? What are other... There are so many passages that have been twisted up. It's just hard to keep up with.
I feel like the one that gets twisted up the most and people try to use it to their advantage, and it's a classic one, it's the money is the root of all evil. And
it's
people,
the love of money.
And people don't understand that it's like that's one that's been twisted up and used. All the money is the root of all evil. And it's not money that's the root of all evil, it's the love of it. The things people do behind money is what makes money evil. It's not money itself. If you're using money to feed your family, you're using money to make the community better, then how is that evil? It's the love and what people will do for money is what causes it to become an evil passage. But money itself is not evil. So this was very interesting today. I feel like I low-key want to do a part 2 to this because we weren't able to like really get in deep with it. Because
we can go super deep with twisting a scripture like forever, but soon I have to go to class.
I'm gonna go to class now. I think next week will be our last show.
Oh,
I'm sad. So next week will be our very last show. I'm so sad.
Me too. I was really going in. I'm gonna bookmark some scriptures. That way we can come back
harder because we're gonna start. Maria had a test today, so we're gonna start on time next week. So I'm excited about this.
I'm super excited
about next week. Okay, like stated before, you have been tuned into another episode by Let's bring that back one more time. Like stated before, you have been tuned into another episode of At the End of the Day, hosted by me, the one and only Kiara Simone. And thank you. Make sure you tune in next week for part 2 of The Black Church. Y'all have an excellent day.
Bye, y'all.